Thunderstorms are truly factories of weather. They produce lightning and heavy rain. Some produce hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. And there are other equally dramatic thunderstorm byproducts that don't get as much attention, and two occurred recently in spectacular fashion. We'll start in Wichita, Kansas, shortly after midnight on June 9th. The previous day had been hot in south central Kansas with highs above 100 in most places. Now here I'm tracking the temperature in Wichita that day, one observation per minute, so we get really fine resolution. The max was around 102 at 3 p.m. And by midnight, temperatures had dropped to the 80s. But then something unusual happened shortly after midnight. The temperature jumped from 84 to 103 in 21 minutes, then fell back into the 80s nearly as fast. This sudden rise in temperature at night, known as a heat burst, was accompanied by winds gusting to near 60 miles per hour. Heat bursts are produced by thunderstorms as they dissipate, a time when they contain lots of downdrafts, sinking air dragged down by falling raindrops. Those downdrafts are faster if the air aloft is dry, which evaporates raindrops, and evaporation cools the air, making it heavier. But as air sinks, it compresses and warms, and if the sinking air gets all the way to the ground, it can get really warm. Take that to an extreme, and you get a heat burst. Now, as the temperature abruptly goes up, you simultaneously get an abrupt drop in humidity as that dry air reaches the ground. Now, here's a close-up of the temperature and the dew point during the Wichita heat burst. As the temperature rose, notice that the dew point dropped suddenly. And as the heat burst dissipated, the temperature and the dew point both returned to near their previous values. Thunderstorm downdrafts were also responsible for another striking thunderstorm byproduct this summer. How'd you like to look out your window and see this coming toward you? That's exactly what happened in Phoenix on July 5th. This huge wall of dust was kicked up by strong downdraft winds racing away from severe thunderstorms that had developed near Tucson, southeast of Phoenix. The leading edge of the dust measured almost 100 miles long and shows up in this radar loop as the arc of blue moving north-northwest across downtown Phoenix. The dust was lifted up at least 5,000 feet as it traveled more than 150 miles across the dry Arizona landscape. In North Africa and the Middle East, these giant sandstorms are called Haboobs, from an Arabic word meaning strong wind. And there were many reports of 50-mile-per-hour gusts and near zero visibility in Phoenix, where dust covered everything and the airport closed for 45 minutes. Dust storms are fairly common in Arizona in the summer, and a few move through Phoenix in an average year. But locals say this was one of the biggest in memory, exacerbated by recent dryness. Rainfall in that part of Arizona has been less than half of average over the last 6 months. We could use some rain here as well. Fred will let us know if any is in the cards in the extended forecast next.